Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. And it's Wednesday, it's July 10th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And it looked like we actually had a nice rally here that looked like we might rally for the day again. But the market's still making new highs. And, when you're going to get these sell offs like this, every time you make a new high, just about. I mean, you never say never, but it's very rare that you'll keep making new highs consistently in the same day. Generally once you make a new high, you're going to get some selling, and um, didn't sell off much, but we sold off from the highs up here around 3,008 down to 2990, 10 points, something like that. I mean, there's some movement today. Unfortunately, there was no way to really catch this early move up. There was maybe a chance right in here, but I just don't see anything in here that I would risk trying to get long right in here. Um, The one thing that I wasn't sure of, if maybe this was a spike in channel right here, but we got a break and a new high, and maybe that is what it is in the end. I did play this other trend channel here. You always want to, clone it and drop it down, and you see it fits down there real nicely, and that's how I originally found it. I just drew it off this, and then drug it up, and of course it fits on the top as well. But you couldn't rule out that this wasn't a spike and channel, or even a spike up, and this was the channel. And so this actually confirmed the brownish or reddish trend line. We actually confirmed it here, and it looked like it might be a spike and channel until we went higher, and then it looks like, well, maybe it could be two-tiered, but it didn't hold here when it came back. So it could be that all we had was a spike, and this is the channel. You got your break, a move to a new high, and then it sold off. And then really all you could do is play these shorter term trends the rest of the day. Um, you had a trend down, trend up, and then we started trending down again going into the 2 o'clock hour. So um, most of all your movement was early on here. We didn't quite fill the gap. This is where the market opened, and this is where it closed yesterday. So this would have been the gap that needed to be filled. We didn't quite fill it. So needless to say, not a lot of trades today. It was kind of a quiet day, and you had to be really patient early on because we didn't start getting, consistent trades until 9 o'clock or so, and there still weren't. There's a few right in there right after 9 o'clock, and there's a few in the afternoon, but it's really sporadic. So it just wasn't a real easy day. I mean, this was real obvious that it was an uptrend, but it was hard to find an entry. And then we finally got some entries on this correction here, and then we had a few on the way back up. So, hopefully maybe some of you had better chart than I did today. I just didn't get a lot of good signal bars and stuff. So, off key entry points and so forth. We got a few going down here, but just about the time what you would hope is you'd come back to this trend line, you could work off it, but we never got anything back there till here, and you don't get a good setup. It's just a first entry, negative signal bar, and then your second entry doesn't come to way down here, and now you're below the EMA. So I just kind of sit tight until you got this double test, and that's really where you could tell most people had decided, hey, this thing's going lower, and look at it drop right there. I guess people that were trying to get long had to exit. But anyway, let me back out just a little bit. We'll talk about the trades. Won't take long today. I mean, with us making all these new highs every day, it's just it's probably going to be difficult to see a sustained trend day going into new highs. So it doesn't mean it can't happen, but it just doesn't usually happen. So just be aware of that. But anyway. 7 o'clock came right in here, this little congestion area coming across back to the trend line, and we do confirm the trend line right there, but you just can't hardly get long right into all that resistance right there. It's too dangerous. We do break out and pull back and test it, so you might have considered going long right here and just putting a stop under this last swing. That's a possibility. I didn't mark it. It's right. It's early in the morning. You would think you would probably get another pull back here and get another chance. But look at this little short-term trend line, how it just takes off. Comes back here, but again, no setup. And then finally you get a measured move up here from one side to the other. This actually needs to be over just a hair. It's two-tiered, and we finally hit the other side, and we come back. And again, you get a little double test here, but it's not back to the EMA. It could be that this is a spiking channel, but you don't get a very good signal bar. You finally get a failed second entry short here. Notice that new low, and you get a first entry, you get a second leg up, and a second entry short that fails real quickly and bounces off that line. And if that, I kind of like that one because it may be that this is a spike up and this is just the channel right here. That's the way it's kind of looking at that point. But you're still having to go long right into the highs of the day, right at this 3,000, right near all-time highs and so forth. It's just not a great place to be entering long. So I marked it green. It is a failed second entry short. It is a strong trend. It is off this midline. You're a little ways from the EMA. If the EMA was right behind it too, like right here, I'd say maybe. But I'd go ahead and draw this trend line right here just in case this is a spike up and we go into this channel. And it's fitting nicely on both sides. So when it comes back and tests it right here, off that key entry point and right at the EMA, that's really the first trade I like of the day. We're not back to this trend line, but at this point, I'm really thinking this is probably a spike and channel up through here. And if so, this would be the first break. And if you're looking at the blue one, I need to clarify that. If you're looking at the spike up in the blue, this would be the first break, and you're probably going to get another push up, at least to try to make a new high. But if this brown one's in play, and it is confirming it right here with a third touch and a nice bullish bar, and there really are two legs. It doesn't break higher right there, but there's two legs back, and it's right off the EMA. It's right off that trend line. I like going long there. That's the first one I like that's I was willing to mark blue. There's a higher low here, but it doesn't break lower. It's right into a double top. If this is the a spiking channel, then we've had a break, and all we have to do is push up for a new low and it can turn back down again. But it does take off. If this would have broke lower, maybe this might have been a decent trade, but you just can't go long into that double top at that point. It's unfortunate, but and there is a failed second entry short right here. Now you don't know if this is a overshoot and we may come back in, but it bounces and keeps going on up. So this is actually supposed to be right here. This was a little bit lower. Can't quite get it there, but anyway, there's a midline right in there. I was trying to get it centered, but I'm having a hard time. But anyway, it turns down and it comes back, and it looks like it's going to bounce here again, but you don't really get a setup, and then it drops lower. You get another lower high, and then you get that double test. You can tell this is where everybody finally decided, hey, we made this high, we got a double test, this trend line's not holding. We're probably going lower, and you can see it take off right there. All the longs had to exit. Everybody that was probably building up on this correction, finally getting a correction, and a lot of people that were probably getting long earlier decide, hey, I better get out of this thing, and it drops down real quickly, and then you really have a double top, so it's a new high, and then you get a first entry, second entry. You had to be a little bit concerned about these lows here, but really this was the last low, and you're still making lower highs and lower lows, and you got a double top here off the EMA, so there's enough room, and believe it or not, it gets exactly your 6 ticks, and that's why 4 tick scalp is our goal. You'd be surprised how often you get just exactly that, and then it bounces, and that's what happened here. I wouldn't take a chance of going long. This trend is down. We do have a break here and a new low in place, but you don't have enough room to get out before these highs. If you had enough room here between here and this last high Or if you let this break higher and maybe try the limit order, I'd be okay with it then, because it is a double test of the low. We do have a break and a new low, and it wouldn't surprise me either if we don't try to retest this high. So that one's a possibility. I didn't mark it because we're really going sideways now, and it's just not much room here. So I wouldn't even want to take another short like this after we bounced here again. So, but we do get this breakout, and it fails. And so I like going short right there just to ride this back into this trading range. You actually try to go higher once, but now you're back at the low and you don't want to get short right there. So, but it pushes through, pulls back, gives you a failed second entry long, a breakout pull back short, and it also turns down. I actually drew this trend line off the lows and drug it up, and it kind of fits right in there. So I like that trade. You may not could have got in that when it gapped over. So you probably would have had to use a limit order and hope it came back. And you may not have got filled on that. I wouldn't enter here if the signal bars are not very good. And you get another pullback right here, but I wouldn't enter there either. You really already had a close outside and a new low. It's not real convincing, but it's still a close outside and a new low on a very tight short-term channel. But we're getting so far away from the EMA and we're not back yet. I mean, there's a nice move there, but you just can't risk that. So now we got a break of this channel here and a new low, and then we had this little sideways, and now we got another one working down, and we get a close outside of it and a new low, and then we get a reversal pattern right here. Notice that new low, first entry, pushes through, pulls back. You don't quite, it doesn't actually break lower there, at least not on my chart, but I still like that one. If we break above that, we're probably going higher. It's still first entry and a second attempt to go lower right there, and we did close above the EMA, and we're looking for a reversal most likely here anyway. I didn't show this, but you had one measured leg down, and then you want to look for another one. And you can see we pretty much had two measured legs down. So there's your reversal. And you actually get a true failed second entry short, actually right there. But it doesn't break higher until you get those matching highs. But when it comes back and gives you this bullish bar again off the EMA, and everything's still closing inside that, I wouldn't be afraid to go long right there. It's not a great setup, but you may take it all the same. Runs up, and then we kind of going sideways here. You get a little drop back, and this is you actually get a close and a new high here, but I don't see any way to get short, and I don't really see any way to get long until you get the failed second entry short here. Notice it pushes up, comes back first entry, tries to go higher, comes back second entry. It gives you a nice bullish bar. Again, it's right into some resistance here, so I'm not crazy about it, but excuse me, I bumped my mic. I don't know if that made a lot of noise or not, but if it did, I'm sorry. It is a failed second entry short, though, and that's generally what you need to push through something like this. The better play would have been to wait, and when it broke lower here and turned up, then I'd jump in, but it didn't break lower. It just turned up, and it does come back to the trend line again right here, but I don't think you want to. That's a little breakout pullback long. Again, I probably wouldn't risk it. And now you got a two-legged correction, and then you get a two-legged correction again. And it looks like you're going to get a failed second entry long here, so I like going short right there. It turns out it's good for a scalp, and then that takes you in the 2 o'clock hour. And then we get another double test here. This is in the 2 o'clock hour, but you can see that resistance across there. And we tested it once, then we went lower, came back or actually we made the high there. We tested it once, tested it twice. It actually broke higher and then goes down, gives you a big bearish bar. When it broke by right there, I wouldn't have any problem shorting that. So if you went short right here, you didn't have much room, and you see it bounced, and you would have had to ride that out, and then it would have come on down, and you could have gotten out again. But if you played this when it broke higher and then turned and went out the lower side, and it's right at 2 o'clock. Generally I don't like trades at 2 o'clock after 2, but it's just right there, and there weren't a lot of trades today, so you might have still been trading a little longer today. Not the greatest day, not the easiest day. I mean, this is not a difficult day, but there's just a lot of reversals, and it didn't set up like a range day early on to say, hey, this is going to be a range day, but it kind of played out like a larger range day with a trend up, trend down, trend up, and then we're starting another trend down. So, it's just it's not a great trading day, to be honest with you. It turns out there's a few trades that we had a little bit of action going on here on this downtrend, but even though this is a nice steep uptrend, you just don't get a lot of opportunities. Same thing when it went back up here again. You didn't get a lot of opportunities. So just not the greatest day, but it is what it is. So I mean, again, we're in new territory with these trading up here around 3,000, above 3,000. Prices will generally almost always bounce around these century areas. When I say century areas, the 2,700 level, 2,800 level, 2,900, now 3,000, 3,100. Those are very emotional areas. And it used to take long times to go through century marks. Now it seems like we can blow through one in a couple of weeks and then turn around and go all the way back down and be trading near another one again. So you just never know what this market's going to do. But so anyway, the only thing you can do on a day like this is just keep drawing these short-term trends and little channels and things and play it by the rules and try to stay with the trend. But that's the problem. The trend is reversing so much, it just really makes it hard to know where prices are going. And there's no clear, later this afternoon we kind of had some clear lows here. Didn't really help you till after 2 o'clock though, but we're not bouncing at clear areas where, when I say clear areas, the same area every time consistently, and we're not turning down off the highs at the same level each time consistently. And that just makes it harder because you don't know you don't know really where to expect. When it bounces across here like this every time, let me put that line on there just to give you an example. You can see that that's a consistent line across there where prices were bouncing. When it does that, then you kind of know where to buy. But when it bounces here, then back down here, like up here at the highs, you see there's a little bit of consistency up there. Like it turned down low here, it didn't turn down there. It did turn back down when it came here. I didn't really get a setup right there. I wouldn't mind taking that short, but I didn't get a good one. You see let me back out. You can see my signal bar is very bullish, and then you got another inside bullish bar before it actually went lower, and then that bar goes all the way back to the EMA. There's a lower high right here, so you may have risked that one, but I'd really want the reversal pattern, which doesn't come till right here. So, but this one's another possibility. You really can see 2 legs down and then that move. So honestly, that still looks very close to a reversal pattern, and you hear me say it a lot. If it looks like a pattern, it's probably going to act like one, and you can see it does. So that's a possibility right there that I didn't mark, and I forgot to talk about a minute ago, but going back and looking at it, that's one to consider. Notice how you get 2 legs, pushes through the EMA, pulls back, and then it closes. Nice bearish bar. It's a nice signal bar there. Of course, you got another pretty good setup here too. So, but anyway, that's what I saw today. I'm not going to beat around the bush anymore. It's just not much. Just not much else we can say about today. It's just one of those days. So. Hopefully it'll pick up tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow to wrap up our week. Can't believe the week's almost already over. We're already going into another weekend after tomorrow, another Friday and then weekend. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow to wrap up our week. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.